plane, he says. Brilliant, eh? So, is that worth an upgrade? Anyway, nice to see you folks. How long have you got? 10 minutes? Okay. Right. Stop, please. Oh, you just had your lunch in my village? Excellent. Okay, right. Well, that's where I come from. And I'm a volunteer for the National Trust. And what I'm here to speak to you about, it's easy for me to say, is what I'm wearing today. I'm wearing what a laird or a Highland chief was wearing in the 1700s or early 1800s. I'm wearing the Phillimore or great kilt or great wrap in English. It was one piece of material. Now those of you who are metric, please excuse me because I'm still a yards and feet man. If any of you want to translate it, fine.
No problem by us.
Okay. It was 6 yards long by 5 feet wide. But there was a problem. Excuse me, because the looms in those days only took 30-inch widths of cloth. So in actual fact then you had to purchase 12 yards, cut it down the middle, join it together, which gave you 6 yards by 5 feet. Okay. As soon as you bought it, you took it down to the loch, the river or the stream and you put it in until it was completely soaked. You took it out and because it was heavy wool of course it shrunk slightly and by shrinking it made it virtually waterproof. Once it dried, and remember that was what you wore all the time for sleeping, for eating or whatever, by the time it dried you've got to wear it and this is where the fun starts. You lay it out on the ground. I do it in the living room in the morning. You lay it out completely 6 yards of it and now you've got to take up all the excess material and you do that by pleating it. Now think of the modern kilt with the pleats in the back, they're sewn in, but I create the pleats myself every morning. See the pleats? And you do that by taking one piece of the set, that white line, over to that white line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until you use up all the excess material. In you come. Until you use all the excess material. But you leave an apron at one side and an apron at the other side. You now pass a belt underneath the cloth. You now get down on your back on top of the pleats. You bring the right apron over the front. This only takes minutes by the way, it sounds like a horrendous job. You take the apron over the front from the right, you put the apron from the left over. And this is the one from the left, okay? Then you bring the belt round and you pull it as tight as you can. And then and only then is it safe to stand up without it falling around your ankles. But what do you do with all this excess material at the back? Well, there's no proper way of wearing it. You can wear it wherever way you want. If it's a bad day or cold day, you simply lift it up, bring it over your head and your shoulders and use it as a covering. Or you can quite simply take this end, bring it up here, this end over the top and fasten it with a plaid brooch. Or you can wear it the way I prefer to wear it. I twist the end here, put it into my belt, and this is the excess material you see. Same on the other side. And then the bit that's left here, simply over the top and fastened with a plaid brooch. No proper way of wearing it, that's just up to you, okay? I'm wearing tartan stockings here. The colours you see there are very, very bright. Now in the old days, the bright colours only came from people with money. Because them and only them could afford to buy expensive dyes from what was the British Empire at that time. India or places like that. The people who stayed in the glen here and other parts of Scotland were using local plants to get dyes. So the colours were very sombre compared to that. They came in about the 1800s, okay? On the garter here you see the white cockade, same as on the bonnet here. That denotes me, without any question, as being a Jacobite or follower of Bonnie Prince Charlie. If you look at any Highland paintings of Culloden or clan warfare, if you see the white cockade you know immediately they're Jacobites. The Hanoverian troops or royal troops wore black cockades. You come up, you come to the sporran here, a very, very simple leather pouch, and in this leather pouch you would carry what you required for that day. Could be your oatmeal, your oats or whatever, cheese, bread and musket balls probably. Anything you required for that day would be carried in this, and any money if you happen to have it. Okay. You come up here, you protectors on the wrists of course, and you come up to the good old Highland bonnet. Now people always say what a size, but those people didn't wear clothing as a fashion statement. They wore it because it was practical. And the Highland bonnet was very practical. And because of its size, if the wind and rain's coming from the side, there's enough here to protect the side of your head. And consequently the same at the front, the back and the other side. It was a very, very practical piece of headgear. Okay. Leather of course would be available for those and such as those, for leather jackets or whatever. And now we go on to the weapons that I'm carrying. The Highland soldier in the 1700s and 1800s was one of the best armed soldiers in Europe. I did a special tour for a Japanese group there last week, and at the end I heard them saying Scottish samurai because of the amount of weapons that the Highlander had. He had the dirk, which was carried in exactly where you see it there. He had the Scottish shield or Taj, which is this. This was made up of strips of oak here, joined together with horse's hoof glue or whatever, and then covered in leather and embossed with whatever pattern the laird or clan chief dictated. If you go to any big houses in Scotland or castles, you'll see different examples of tages. The dirk was carried in this manner here, which meant it could be used as a stabbing or a slashing weapon.